What's up everyone, Franco here from Sound Made Simple and welcome to the second video in our 10 video mini series. In this video we're going to be having a look at everything you need to know about microphones. So whether you're here because you're watching this mini series from start to finish or whether you just feel you want to learn something about microphones, welcome and enjoy. So the first thing you need to know about a microphone is what is it used for? The microphone is the first step within capturing sound. It converts a sound wave into electrical signal that can then be manipulated and amplified and projected to the audience. We can break microphones down into two main categories, which would be dynamic microphones and condenser microphones. Let's have a look at dynamic mics. A dynamic microphone works through an electromagnet mechanism. The sound wave will hit the diaphragm, which will move within a magnetic field, and this creates an electric signal. Dynamic microphones are built to handle high SPL, which is sound pressure level. This just basically means it's built to handle high volume. This makes them great for miking up instruments which are quite loud. This could be a vocal, which is a person singing, it could be a drum kit, or perhaps even a guitar amplifier. Dynamic microphones are extremely durable and reliable, and this makes them great for live sound environments. Unfortunately, in live sound environments, bad things happen. People drop microphones or microphones get knocked over, and fortunately dynamic microphones can handle the wear and tear of this kind of situation. Dynamic microphones are also less sensitive to changes in humidity and temperature. This makes them an ideal choice for outdoor venues. Most dynamic microphones are really good at focusing on the sound that comes from the front. This means that they will reject sound coming from the back, which would be your front of house PA as well as the monitors playing back at the musicians. Next up we have the condenser microphone. It's very different to the dynamic in the way that it works. Condenser microphones have a diaphragm that is electrically charged. This is where you would need phantom power to send electricity to the diaphragm. When a sound wave hits the condenser microphone's diaphragm, it then creates a varying electrical charge. Condenser microphones are much more sensitive than dynamic mics. They are great at capturing the finer details in the sound. This makes them ideal for capturing quieter or more intricate sound sources. This could include instruments like the acoustic guitar, or perhaps something like strings, which would be a violin or a cello, or instruments such as those. As mentioned, because of their charged circuitry, they do need phantom power. Phantom power is the process of delivering DC, which is direct current, to the microphone. The microphone would need this to drive the active circuitry inside. If your mixer does not have phantom power, it means that you will not be able to use a condenser microphone with this mixer. There are, however, inline or separate power supplies that you can actually use to power your condenser microphone, which means you can use your mic with a mixer that does not have phantom power. The sensitivity of the condenser microphone makes it very, very useful in a studio where capturing as much detail as you possibly can is key. A studio is a controlled environment which does not have any unwanted background noises. In a studio, a condenser microphone and its sensitivity is a great positive, unlike a loud, noisy environment like a stage where it is a big negative. When talking about microphones, we shouldn't forget about the lavalier microphone and the headset microphone. Let's have a look at the lavalier or the lav or the clip-on mic. These microphones clip onto your shirt, and this is great because it means that your hands are free and that you are free to move about. One of the negatives of the lavalier microphone is that they have quite a small capsule. This means that they aren't quite as natural sounding as their bigger dynamic and condenser counterparts. Lavalier microphones unfortunately have to be plugged into a wireless system. A wireless system would consist of a body pack transmitter that you would wear somewhere on your person, as well as a separate receiver that you could put close to the mixer. The receiver would receive the sound and you can then plug a signal from there into your mixer. Next in line we have headsets. Headsets are also great for freeing up your hands and allowing you to move about freely. Some headsets are very discreet and some are quite bulky. Generally, the bigger the capsule, the better the microphone will sound. This means that your smaller, more discreet microphones often don't sound as good as the bigger, bulkier, or what we call boy band headsets. You generally find them in one of two configurations, which would be a single over ear, which means it just goes over the one ear and sits in the front, or the double over ear, which means it goes over both ears. All of the modern manufacturers have decided to create some version of this, so there should be something out there for you. Just like the Lavalier microphone, you have to plug the headset into a wireless system. Seeing as we are now talking about wireless systems, let's have a look at wireless handheld microphones. These are wonderful as they give you a lot of freedom and you can move about and you are not restricted by any form of a cable. You often see them at concerts where the vocalists move around a lot. With a wireless handheld microphone system, you need two separate pieces. The first piece is your handheld wireless transmitter. This actually includes your capsule at the top, which is your diaphragm, your transmitter in the middle, and in most cases, the battery holder at the bottom. On the other side, you have the receiver. This is generally a flat little box that has a few knobs on to make adjustments. From the receiver, you would then run signal into the mixer. So at the top, we have the capsule. This is the same as with all the other microphones, as it takes a sound wave and converts it into electrical signal. The electrical signal from the capsule then runs into the transmitter, where it gets compressed and then sent to the receiver via radio wave. The receiver would then receive the signal, uncompress it, and send it to the mixer. This whole process is called companding. It's nothing fancy. If you think about it, it's just two words, compressing and expanding, put together. Generally, more expensive wireless systems are much better at the process of companding. This means there will be a lot less signal loss or quality loss in more expensive wireless systems. Newer digital systems do not use this process at all, which means in theory there should be no quality or signal loss. This means that the signal flowing out of your receiver has the exact same characteristics as it had on the input side. With your more affordable wireless systems, the capsule and the handheld transmitter come pre-paired. With your more expensive wireless systems, such as the Sennheiser EWD or perhaps the Shure QLXD, you can actually buy all of these components separately. This means that you can buy different capsules to use with the same wireless system. Most of the options available to you are dynamic capsules, which is the same as the dynamic microphone, but there are some options for condenser capsules. When talking about wireless microphone systems, we have to remember that they work within a specific frequency band. The transmitter and the receiver have to be on the exact same frequency in order to talk to each other. On most wireless systems, you can actually choose this frequency within a frequency band. This is called a variable frequency system. There are, however, some very affordable wireless microphone systems out there where you can not choose the frequency. These are called fixed frequency systems. Remember that in most cases, the more affordable the system you buy, the less options you will have to choose from. This just basically means that if you are limited to, let's say, 4 channels within a frequency band, you will not be able to use more than 4 of those systems together. The reason for this is that after you have already filled up the 4 channels, then the microphones will start interfering with each other. There's a lot going on around us in terms of radio frequency. Remember, pretty much everything these days is transmitting a radio frequency. Whether that be your internet or the Bluetooth, these are all radio frequencies, and there's a lot more floating around that you aren't even aware of. For this reason, our airwaves have become extremely busy, and this could possibly interfere with your microphone system. Generally, this should not be a problem, as the newer microphone systems are all working within frequency bands that have been allocated specifically for them. Unfortunately, some of the older wireless microphone systems, even though the components might still be working fine, has now fallen into a frequency band that has been allocated to something or someone else. This means that with the older microphone systems, you are much more likely to experience interference. To wrap it up, wireless microphones are great for freedom. You can move about and there's no restriction in terms of a cable. On the other hand, they also have some disadvantages. Unfortunately, they are more expensive than their normal cable counterparts. Also, because they are wireless, they are subject to interference and battery failure. What's up, everyone? If you feel like you found this video informative and you've learned something, please remember to subscribe to this channel and to like this video. This will help us grow this channel, and hopefully we can create more awesome content in the future. The next very important aspect to have a look at is the microphone pickup pattern. So what is a microphone pickup pattern? Well, a microphone pickup pattern, also known as a polar pattern, is defined by the way the microphone reacts to sound coming from different directions. I think it's a lot easier to explain this by showing you guys. First, we have the omnidirectional pickup pattern. As you can see, it picks up sound from all directions and creates a fully circular pickup pattern. This is good for any recording situation where sound is coming from all directions. An example of this would be something like a band or an orchestra, or perhaps even an interview where people are seated right around the microphone. Next, we have the bidirectional or figure of 8 pickup pattern. These mics capture sound coming from the front and the back, but reject sound coming from the side. This is very nice for doing interviews or recordings of two people who are sitting opposite each other. Moving on, we have the cardioid pickup pattern. This is great at picking up sound coming from the front and rejects sound coming from the back. This is probably the pickup pattern you will come across the most, as many of the condenser and dynamic microphones have this exact pickup pattern. This pickup pattern is very popular and is a great choice for a live environment. Remember that for live use, you have to place the monitor directly behind the microphone. This will minimize bleed, which is basically just sound coming from a different source other than the one you are trying to capture. This will lead to the cleanest input and also the best feedback rejection. Next is the supercardioid pickup pattern. The supercardioid pattern is even more focused than the cardioid. This means that it's even more directional and focused than the standard cardioid pickup pattern. It's very good at rejecting sound coming from the side, and it's perfect for a live environment. As you see, there is a small pickup area at the back, so if you're using a monitor, remember to place it at a 45-degree angle. Last in the cardioid family, we have the hypercardioid pickup pattern. This is even more focused than the supercardioid, rejecting even more sound coming from the side. This microphone is great if you are able to stay right in front of it, meaning if you're able to stay still in front of the microphone. This is perfect for a relaxed gig where the performer can sit right behind the microphone. But if you're moving around and you are performing, then this might not be the best choice for you. Once again, note the slight pickup pattern at the back, which means that you also have to place the monitors at 45 degrees. Last but not least, we have the shotgun pattern. This pattern is extremely focused and very, very good at rejecting sound coming from the side. This is great for working in a very busy environment where you need to reject almost all the sound coming from the side. You'll often find the shotgun mic as an add-on for cameras to be used in busy environments for interviews. We must also mention the multi-pattern microphones. These are microphones where you can switch between multiple pickup patterns. Unfortunately, these are not all that regularly available and you won't see them all that often. Next, we will be covering microphone placement. This is extremely important as it will affect how the microphone captures the sound. For a vocal, it is ideal if the singer is about 2 to 3 inches or about 5 to 8 centimeters from the microphone. This will give you good, strong signal. If the vocalist was to come closer to the microphone, you could have excessive plosive sounds. Plosive sounds are your p and t and t sounds. For an instrument, it could be slightly different. It's good to find the sweet spot of the instrument that you are miking up. For a guitar amplifier, this is generally close to the middle or the cone of the speaker. For a drum, it could be close to the rim, aimed at the center of the drum where the stick will be hitting. These are just two practical examples, but you have to find the sweet spot for the instrument and the microphone that you will be using. Putting your microphone too close to the source that you are trying to capture might cause distortion. Taking it too far away from the source, on the other hand, will change the way that it sounds. This is where the proximity effect is very important. The proximity effect is very simple. The closer you move the microphone to the source, the more bass or low frequency you will get. The further you move it away from your source, the less bass end or low frequency the microphone will capture. When you move it too far from the source, then the sound you will be capturing will sound unnatural. The last aspect we will be covering is the microphone's natural EQ. All microphones have a natural EQ that makes them sound unique. Yes, you should choose the correct microphone for the source that you are trying to capture, but you should remember that because of a microphone's natural EQ, it might sound different to another microphone which is equally as good at capturing the exact same sound. As an example, let's have a look at two vocal mics. First, we have the SM58, and we will compare it with the Sennheiser E835. As you can see, their EQ charts look different. It's the same with the AKG D114 and Shure Beta 52A. Both of these are excellent kick drum microphones, but if we have a look at their EQ charts, which is their natural EQ, you will see that they will make the exact same kick drum sound very different. This is where personal preference plays a very big role. There are plenty of options out there depending on your budget and on your preference. As long as the microphone adheres to the aspects we covered today, you should be perfectly fine. Thanks for watching this video, guys, and we will see you at the next one.